Now, here during the 10 o'clock hour on Tuesdays, we are privileged to be joined by Coach Nathan Bean, head coach of the Eastern Oklahoma State College Lady Mountaineer basketball team. Coach, first and foremost, good morning. How are you doing?
A little tired, but pretty good.
A little tired's not too bad. It wasn't all that awful of a drive last night.
No, just long. Long. It's all right, though.
Well, it is what it is. It's all part of that late season grind. Just a couple of games left. Of course, Coach and I are talking about that game last night against NEO. As always, Coach and I sit here. We chat about what was, what is, what will be, all about women's basketball. And there's no place to start than what just was. And that was that game against NEO. Tough one for you guys, dropping your fifth straight. Final score 72-40. Overall, what can you tell me about your team's performance in that one?
I mean, at the end of the day, it just came down to we didn't make shots and they did. You look at field goal percentages, and that pretty much tells a story of how last night went on the road. And when you're playing a good team like that, like NEO, you just can't go stretches, and you can't go 7-8 minutes without making a shot, and that's what happened last night.
And you talk about those percentages, 45% for NEO, who had 3 different double-digit scorers, almost had a double-double with Wemba Dejunga, who had 15 rebounds and 8 points. And Eastern, I mean, you guys played well in that second quarter with that 2-point difference, but 20-9 in that first quarter, certainly something to challenge you, I guess, to get better into that game. So I guess the outlier question here, what do you have to do to get off to a hotter start? How do you break out of those tough stretches?
Offensively, we didn't get off to a hot start. Defensively, I thought we played pretty good. I mean, we held them to 28 in the first half. It was 28-19. It was a pretty low-scoring game. Defensively, we were getting stops. We were holding them down and, taking care of the paint. And, this is the nature of basketball. If you're not making shots and the offense isn't there, it's hard to keep the defense playing at such a high level.
And
for 40 minutes.
The rebound game is also a part of that too, I'd imagine. And you made a comment here just before we went on air. You asked about the offensive rebounds as NEO has gotten their stats in. Only one more offensive rebound for NEO than for what you guys did. 9 for NEO, 8 for Eastern. And you mentioned it felt like a lot more. And I'm just a little curious, why was it that it felt like a little bit more?
Well, they're the type of team, I think they're sitting second, almost tied for first in the league right now. Against those teams, if they get those extra possessions, they typically score on them. And that's how it can feel like it's more, even though it wasn't.
And we've talked a lot about momentum, and especially with now the losing streak and another tough loss like that with NEO, now the momentum has to be kicked up another level, and it's going to kind of just guide us here into the next segment, more or less, of our conversation here with Western coming up. And 3 games left on the docket, and Western, an important one. The game against Tonkawa, which we'll get to here in a minute, that's a big one. But now Western. And, it's kind of neat where you have a team that you saw 12 days ago that you lost by 3, but that's really where the first half of momentum wasn't there against Western. The second half was. So, utilizing that word again, momentum. Right. How do you take that from the losing streak into a matchup that you did well against in game 1, but to, like we're talking about, get off to that fast start?
Yeah, I think it's important. And our kids do a good job. We know... we know NEO is a good team. We know Murray State's a good team. And we know we can beat Western. It's one of those things where we played with them at their place, did not play a good first half and then came out the second half, had to lead at one point. So we know in our minds that it's a game that we can go out there and compete in.
When you play a team, is it just that kind of mutual respect, or do you look at it from like a nameless face type thing where, it's just another team, we can go out here and beat those guys?
No, I don't think it's ever anything nameless face, especially when you're in league play, because you know all the teams, you know all the players, whether you seen them in high school or other colleges or whatever. Everybody knows everybody, and so I think it's one of those, like you're saying, mutual respect type of deals.
And mutual respect is a great thing, especially when you're getting ready for this team in Western, who enters today the number 4 team inside of Region 2. How about that Redlands team? I know it's a little off topic here, but
they're good.
They're really good. And Redlands has snuck all the way from being a bottom 3 team in the region, now 11-3 and sitting in 3rd just behind NEO and Murray. Really big congratulations to Redlands over there. But as I look at this Western game from, again, 12 days ago, typically you're waiting a month to sit here and see. Do you feel as though 12 days gives you a little bit of an advantage, an edge here in this matchup?
I would hope so. You never really know until we get out there on the court and, these couple of days of practice we have to get ready, obviously on Thursday. But, they're coming towards the end of their tough stretch too. I think last night was their 7th game in 14 days or something like that, kind of what we went through a couple of weeks ago. So it's one of those things we just got to make sure we're able to go out there and play at a high level and put the pressure on like we need to.
So Western does come off of a win last night, 74-56. Eastern outshot Western last time, 49% for the Mountaineers. Western shot about 39%. Eastern had a couple more shots, but a couple less attempts. So should be pretty well matched there, but the rebound category is going to be something just to keep an eye on. 43 total rebounds by Western compared to 21 by Eastern. The last kind of, I guess, question for this one being sophomore day. It's kind of a neat situation here for you with, just the two coming back this year with Lila and Phoebe. But overall, your thoughts on your sophomore class from the two that stayed, the couple that you brought in. Just I would like to give you a minute to shine here with your sophomores.
Phoebe's done a great job this year. It's a much different role than she had last year just because the situation we were in, she had to play a lot. She hasn't played as much this year, but she's been a rock star at her role and just goes in and plays hard whenever she's called on. And then the transfers, sophomores we had, Parrish has had a pretty good year. Ayana's come on really strong the second semester and really, giving us a lift after we lost Atlanta that semester. And I can't speak enough about Emma Roberts. She just comes in and does her job every day. Shows up on game days, shoots the ball, and plays defense. What more could a coach ask for?
Not a whole lot. Sophomore day is coming up on Thursday as Western in town. This is the final home game of the Eastern women's basketball and men's basketball season. So if you can come on out, come and check that one out. We will have coverage of that here on Mountaineer Radio and Mountaineer TV. And a big thank you and congratulations to the sophomores here. Coach, I have one more question for you, and it's something that you and I were talking about a little bit before we turn the mics on here. I know typically we don't look past one game. I know for most coaches, it's one game at a time, keep going, but it's hard not to look a little bit down the road here with the Region 2 tournament in less than a month at this point. 8 of the 9 teams in Region 2 get in, and right now Eastern is that bubble team. They are number 8. There's one team directly below Eastern in NOC Tonkawa, which coming into today is a game back of Eastern. Now, you guys do own the head-to-head tiebreaker, having beaten Tonkawa here at Eastern, but after Tonkawa beats Enid, now suddenly the common opponents tiebreaker is gone. And if Tonkawa were to beat you in Tonkawa next week, then it goes to your triple asterisk tiebreakers. Right. So I guess my full question here to you, is there any concern out of you guys of the possibility of this team missing out on the Region 2 tournament entirely?
No, we're just focused on just going out and, get ready for Western. And then once we're done with Western, get ready for Tonkawa. And we just take one game at a time, one game at a time this time of year. And, we just got to control what we can control, and the chips are going to fall how they fall.
3 games left on the regular season. Western here in Wilburton on Thursday next week against Tonkawa, and then Seminole State next week. Coach Nathan Bean of EOSC Ladies Basketball. Thank you, sir, for sitting here, playing along, and having a good chat.
No, you're good. Appreciate you having me.
We'll sit here and have a lot more good conversation as time continues on here.
Absolutely.
So, thank you for that. With that, we're going to get back into the music here. Imagine Dragons, Thunder, right here on The Mix.